Hate me cause the way I talk, hate me cause the way I move. Hate like Hitler, hate the shoes. By the way, there ain't no Jews. Jokes on you, April Fools. Make no money, make me move. Make me make the news. Before I pray to Satan, same mistake as you. Where them boys be tripping like they skipping, but ain't lace they shoes. Where that thing be hitting like it's crack cocaine in 82. Wake 'em up like Lazarus, hazardous like Daisy Dukes. I ain't lying, death is like a lion that ain't ate in 2 weeks. And sheep in its reach just to play the fool beat. They hate that I say y'all, they say it ain't as cool. Pray to the creator, I just do what I'm created to. Oops, you was created to it. Who am I to say that you deserve more than damnation too? Who am I, a soldier, just salute me like the Navy troop? I do the wear like Mike, y'all haters make it like I make the rules. Before you ever was a thug, you was an Israelite. Before you ever was a gangster, you was Israelites. Yeah, we got about them shit to us Israelites. Yeah, nigga was a nigga, we was Israelites. Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom, family.
Out there in Hebrew land. I got you with another pre-recorded edition of Studying Scriptures.
That's right.
I'm here with the beautiful and lovely Hebrew Griot, aka Ribkaya.
He's showing over to say to a girl.
I ship y'all.
And if I look questionable about the eye region, it's just because it's been a long day. I am tired.
So no doobie doo.
No, we don't do that. That's against scripture. That's not in the Bible. No, we don't do that. It's just been a long day. Like I said, this is pre-recorded, and now we got it in. Last night we did. We shared our calendar live in the Kodesh Conversations Facebook group, and that went very well.
It's beautiful. If y'all haven't seen that, find that. It's okay amongst the groups. It's this big thing about nobody know when the date is, so everybody just kind of pick their own dates, and but y'all actually gave us a way to prove our dates. And so there are several spots in the scriptures that if your calendar is correct, it shall line up with several events that happen in the scriptures. It's real beautiful. If y'all haven't seen that calendar thing, check it out.
Yeah, and again, like I was saying in the room, that's framework and foundation. As far as the calendar goes, just as far as getting your dates and putting your feast days on from Yah's calendar and laying them on top of your civil calendar, so to speak, the worldly calendar, so that you keep up with the dates. But we kept 2 calendars, and that's just beginning to understand it. Once you start to get those dates and observe those dates and study those dates, the feast days, the Moedim, then you actually start to learn more about Messiah. You start to learn more about your walk, and you start to learn more about exactly how important the calendar is and why it is that y'all set these things up.
Especially when you find out, certain events, the angels and the Malachim and the heavens is keeping them on the same time. There's power in it. It's power in it. It was a reason why the enemy set out to scramble up the calendar. It was a reason why the enemy attacked the calendar. It's deep. It's deep.
So, speaking of being on one accord with the Malachim.
What'd I say?
Malachim. Anyway, speaking of being on one accord with the Malachim.
You know I be making up. Sounds good though. Y'all know what I mean.
That's a good transition for what we're studying this week. Because if I'm correct in my assertion.
My brother, you gonna have to open. You want to open them eyes a little bit more. You like, am I correct to my bro? You just took it down.
So, as long as I'm not driving. We are looking at Genesis chapters 31, 32, and 33.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, good deal.
Yep.
So, we got some very interesting stuff going on here, as usual. But,
Hey, the tea.
the tea.
The tea. I would look. The tea.
The Hebrew tea.
The Hebrew tea.
Okay. So, look, this is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So, let's give an overview of 31.
Okay.
And when we get to 32 and 33, we can just recap, because if y'all read it, I pray you read it. There's no need to reread it again from the scriptures, but we want to read to y'all the version from
Yes.
Jasher.
Yes.
So if you got Jasher, get Jasher ready.
Yes. This is one of them times.
If you don't have Jasher, pull it up in pseudepigrapher.pdf or sacred text. We usually post a link for you. If you haven't got that link yet, if we're live in the chat, one of us will post it for you, or one of the people that join us, one of y'all post it for you,
Let me
please.
tell you something. All you book lovers out there, it's certain books that y'all need to have in your arsenal.
Yeah,
Certain books need to be part of your weaponry. Jasher's one of them.
Jasher's one.
You know what I'm saying? Right there with your scriptures. You know, you got to be able to, let me get Jasher. Enoch.
Jasher, Jubilee,
Jubilee.
the Apocrypha.
And
Yeah, those is
the
like,
dictionaries out of hands.
that's Zatarans.
I said Zatarans. What is it? What is it?
Zondervan.
Well, tomato.
Yeah, so Zondervan's.
West side, south side.
Yes. What is that?
You should try to say us out west can't talk.
Huh?
You trying to say us out west can't talk?
I'm not trying to say that.
You know what?
This is not a
I
competition.
know I'm finna start a war
This is not a
between
competition.
Chicagoans. But hey, West Siders, ain't them South Siders sedity?
This is
They
not a
so
competition.
sedity. I don't know how in American South Side.
Listen,
They so sedity.
there is no competition. Let's move on.
Yes, there is no competition.
Anyway, so would you like to do the honors on overview in 31?
Sure,
I'm sorry. Yeah, 31.
sure. We're
Okay.
gonna do a quick overview. So as you remember last week, we left off with Jacob outsmarting Laban
Yeah.
with his flock. So you gonna find out, y'all gonna take it one step further.
Yeah.
So Jacob did a thing in which he made the strong of the flock striped and speckled, and the weak of the flock perfect looking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Laban is a cheater, been cheating them. You know what I'm saying? So he just gave him like one parting, gift. But y'all ends up taking it even further. So it says, and he heard the words of Laban. So by this time, Laban didn't have some sons.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, it's been 20 years since Jacob been there.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently at this point, y'all done made all the flocks speckled and all the flocks striped, so that Laban don't have no flock.
Yeah, he got some flock, but it's looking scrawny at this point.
It's right.
And the ones that look good walking around limping and ain't in the best health.
So now Laban's sons say Jacob has taken away all that was our father's from what belonged to our father. He has made all this wealth.
Yeah.
So they talking between themselves about how Jacob then came up off Laban. Meanwhile, we find out that we go a little bit deeper and find out Laban been stiffing Jacob on his wages.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Although Laban been getting richer and richer since Jacob been there, he been demoting Jacob, you know what I'm saying, yearly. He'll be like, I know I was paying you this last year, but things didn't get tight.
Yeah.
Where Jacob could clearly see we was doing good. What you mean things got tight?
Yeah, and Jacob gives us some details. He says, first of all, you changed my wages 10 different times.
10 times.
And not only that, but every time it was something wrong with your flock, it came out of my pocket. So I didn't if one of the animals was torn apart by a beast, or if they was lame or something like that, I wasn't bringing it to you because it was coming out of my hand. That was something you required. That was one of the things you changed. You decided that if it was broken, lame, or something like that, if it didn't look just right,
if it wasn't just right,
it was on my hand to do.
So we see that Jacob did what he did in the last chapter, and we think, boy, Jacob wrong for that. But we see now when we get a little bit of backstory that Laban had that common. Laban was a snake.
Absolutely.
Now we also find out in this chapter that Rachel that Yah tells Jacob it's time to go, because now that a deal's a deal. So now that the majority of Laban's flock is speckled and striped, that means the majority of Laban's flock belongs to Jacob. So a deal. You can't renegger on that. You know what I'm saying?
And in addition to that, at the point in which, look, you in somebody else's territory, and all their sons is now talking bad about you. Like, and how long is it gonna be before they rise up?
Yeah.
And start.
And be ready to.
You already know they're gonna start nitpicking.
They thinking about it.
They're gonna nitpick you, and then eventually it's just gonna get worse and worse. So at this point in time, we read that Yah sends a messenger to Jacob and say, "Hey brother, it's time to go home.
Time to roll.
You go home, and I'll be with you, and you're going home.
Right.
So get your stuff together, pack it up, pack it in.
Right.
Let me begin.
Right.
It's time to roll."
Right. And Jacob do it without even telling Laban.
Yeah.
Because Laban, it didn't get so tense between the two of them that Jacob rolled out without even telling Laban, so he get like a 3-day head start on Laban.
And if he did tell Laban, what's been Laban's pattern so far? Even with Abraham's servant, Laban, no, stay a little bit longer, and it's nice but aggressive.
Yeah.
Tone.
Because believe it or not, when Jacob first tell Laban he ready to go back home after he worked for Rachel after the 14 years, Laban ended up talking Jacob to saying 6 more years.
6 more years.
So 6 more years have passed in that time. I mean, I know it read kind of quick, so the Bible makes you think like this happened the next day.
Yeah. But
6 more years have passed since the previous chapter.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So Laban talks him into saying another 6 years. So now this time he go without even letting Laban know he gone.
3 days passed.
We find out though in the meantime that Rachel stole her father's mighty ones. So she stole her father's idols, the house idol. It
seems like it was one in particular, more than likely.
It was 3 of them, I think.
Was it 3?
Yeah, because we found out in Jasher or Jubilees that these things that Laban had, they were heads, and the heads would talk. So it was fortune teller heads. So you know how they got
carved images. Let's put it simply in layman's terms. It was carved images. Who knows what they were carved out of? But evidently somebody was using them to soothsay or to fortune tell. Whatever it was what they were worshiping, and it was worth something to Laban. But evidently it was worth something to Rachel as well, because she still, in her heart, was beholden to whatever they were practicing.
Right.
Yeah.
So now keep in mind, we try to look at the scriptures through our lenses, but it was a lot of supernatural things happening more out in the open versus now where the supernatural things still happen, but they happen behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
I would contend that it's not so much that they're behind the scenes, but you've been desensitized to them.
I believe so.
Yeah. So because we're desensitized to them, we chalk them up as not as supernatural as what they are.
Okay.
And so you see and hear stuff all the time. Like, for example, Red was just commenting on, and this is a little gruesome, a family that lost, that a mother had her granddaughter in the car with her, and her daughter and her sons were in the car in front of them. And when they got separated, she lost her daughter and her grandsons in a car accident due to somebody drunk driving. 2 days later, someone comes to her door, and because of altercation between her and the individual that comes to her door, this individual takes out a gun and shoots the granddaughter. So now the only other child, the only other child that her daughter had alive, her daughter's dead and the son's dead. This person within a week, shoots the grandbaby 4 times, was it?
Yeah, like in her chest.
In her chest.
Like, yeah.
So it's like, you'll be like, man, people is crazy. You know what I mean? And don't think nothing else
like,
about
that.
Like,
stuff just happened?
Without asking yourself that question. Do these things just happen, or are there deities and entities behind the inner workings of what we see manifested in the flesh? We see these things manifested in our realm, but you have to understand there's always spiritual things going on, as Rib said, behind the scenes. But what's going on behind the scenes has to be manifested in the physical realm at some point and in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You know what I mean?
Right. So we read the previous chapter. We read about the love apples,
right?
And everybody's like, "Well, what are love apples? And what are these?" But apparently, Leah and Rachel, who wasn't brought up practicing what Abraham knew or whatever. They was Laban, the Armenian. They were still steeped in whatever rituals and things that was going on around them.
Yeah.
So Rachel steals her father's idols.
Yeah.
And
it's some time though. It's some time that they're traveling. She's gone with the idols. Yeah. And they gone for 3 days before Jacob gets word from his servants and his family.
Laban,
Yeah, thank you, Laban. Yeah. Gets word that they even gone.
That they even left.
But when he gets word, I'm talking about they suit up. They suit up everybody that they got. And he's ready for battle. And so they light out after them. Yeah. And they catch up to them in the mountains.
But before he do, the night before he catch up to them, he go to sleep and y'all come.
He's in the mountains, but he hadn't called them.
Right. And he go to rest that night. And y'all come see him in his sleep. Yeah. And he basically tell him, don't
what it is.
When you catch up with Jacob, bro, don't you do no good or evil to him.
He tell him watch him out.
Basically.
He tell him watch him out.
Don't trouble my servant.
Watch how you speak to Jacob. Because he literally tells him don't speak good nor evil of him.
Yeah.
Or to him.
Yeah.
But basically he's saying watch him out.
Yeah.
I know what's on your heart.
I know what you're gonna do.
But I got him covered.
Right. That's mine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. And keep in mind, y'all, I was telling one young lady this. We're not dealing with perfect individuals. Jacob was not a perfect man. We even see when he prayed to Yah in the next chapter when he getting ready to encounter Esau. We see he prayed to Yah when he found out like Esau coming. When word gets to Esau that Jacob coming and Esau mount up with 400.
Yeah.
Esau mount up to do some damage. First thing he do is hit his knees, and the first thing he said to you, I was like, I am not worthy of, you know what I'm saying? Jacob is not like this perfect individual. So this young lady was just like, oh my goodness, I'm reading about these people, and like she couldn't really understand why Yah was with them, and they had all these flaws. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The same reason why he with us. You know what I mean? We are all flawed individuals. Like we are not worthy of the Father's love. And yet, he bestowed it on us. I often fail the Father. To my, I hate it, but I'm weak,
We fall short, yeah.
We fall short.
We
miss the mark.
But the saying is, there's no testimony without a test. And so, what I believe Yah is doing with us as He's purifying us is also causing us to have something to help other people, but also causing us to have compassion on other people, and also causing us to have understanding about what this whole thing is that He's doing. Because if Yah would have created us without giving us free will.
Yes.
And if He'd created Adam and Eve in the garden and they did not have free will,
Yeah.
then everything could have just remained perfect.
And how could any being be worthy of Yah's love without free will?
Yeah, so it's like you
know?
don't have free will. You're doing what you're programmed to do because you've been automated.
Yeah, you're a robot.
Yeah.
I love the Father.
That's
I
not
love
really
the
love. That's you got to choose Yah.
Yeah.
And in those instances when you don't choose correctly, because we do have free will, you're able to get spanked. You're able to learn your lesson.
Yeah.
You're able to choose to worship other deities. I'm just keeping it real with you. You're able to choose to worship the gods if you want to. You're able to choose anything you want to choose. But for each choice, there is a reward, there is a consequence, there is a reaction, and that's how we learn.
What's the saying? There's an equal or greater reaction.
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, so Jacob had many faults, but, it was coming back to Jacob. The things that was happening to Jacob by the hands of Laban, in Jacob's eyes, they were unjust, but Jacob was paying for certain things that he did.
Well, Jacob got mad.
Yeah.
When Jacob confronts, so that's what's next, right?
Yeah.
So Jacob confronts him. I'm sorry, Laban confronts Jacob.
Yeah.
And he's choosing his words carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically is like, I mean, look, I know you got to go home because, you love your family, you got to go home. But, you lit out, you didn't even tell me. You got my daughters with you like they like they captives. You got my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And you took the gods out of my house. Like, what's up with that, bro? Like, if I may.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Because did you know he took the guys?
Yeah.
Out my house.
So Jacob, of course, doesn't know that Rachel got these carved images, and he tells Laban, he's like, "Man, search. Look, you find carved images on somebody in my house. You could take your carved images and the life of whoever got them.
Yeah."
I'm not serious about this. So search whatever you want to search.
Yeah.
And Laban get to tearing up everything like they the police.
Yeah.
And you a black person on the side of the road getting a drug search in your car.
So these guys, I read further on these specific guys that Rachel took, and Laban was so eager to get back, and the demon spirits caused these guys' mouths to move and speak to them. You know what I'm saying? So they were just wooden heads, or like a voodoo doll, but just the head. And Laban would ask, what should I do? It was these guys that gave him all the ill advice to do with Jacob or whatever.
I'm sure we've seen something like it in some cartoons.
You already know.
Some talking
You
heads.
already know, yeah. And so Rachel took him because she took him for two reasons. So that she could have guidance, and so that her father wouldn't get advice on how to kill her husband. So, she, in her mind, she was helping Jacob.
You call that vain reason.
Yeah, And so when Laban tearing everything up, ripping everything up, looking for the guys, and when he gets to Rachel's tent, she's sitting on her chest where she just hid the cases. Like, go ahead, look around. And she's like, you gotta excuse me if I don't get up, I'm on my period.
Right.
But
let me give a little bit further on why that's vain reason. Vain reason is meaning it's worthless. Mm-hmm. Because even if you say to yourself, well, she did it to help Jacob, if you think about that carefully, you're still saying she put more trust let me not use the word trust. She put more belief in the power of those guys than she did in Yah.
And Jacob talked to both of his wives before he left and told them the power of Yah and told them that Yah was moving him back towards
Yah was going to be with them.
And Yah was going to be with them.
That's right.
And she still chose to
If she thought that those gods were going to be able to overpower Jacob, even though Jacob told them that Yah was with them, that she had more. She thought that those gods were more powerful than Yah, right? And if she thought she was going to get advice from them, then that's self-explanatory. But either way, it was wicked reasoning. It was vain reasoning, wicked reasoning to have those carved images with them. But because she said she was in the way of women.
Yeah. You know how men do. You appear. Oh. They chased her father right on out.
It's still unclean, even among what they believe. And they were like, oh, we ain't going to be looking under there.
Okay, we ain't going to be touching that.
And so they didn't find nothing. And all the while they're not finding stuff, Jacob getting pumped up, he getting piped up more and more like.
He's like, this dude study coming at me.
Yeah, he finally snapped. He gets going off on the band. Like, look, you done had me work 14 years for your daughters. You done changed my wages 10 times.
10 times.
You done.
You got an extra 6 years out of me.
Yeah. You made me take everything that was lame, broken, and cross-eyed, including one of your daughters.
What he say? No, she just got blue eyes or something. Ain't that what he said last time? Now you call it
We don't know. but he goes off, and Laban has to calm Jacob down because y'all already told him,
right.
Watch your tone.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, let's make a covenant.
Now, it's something about these covenants that these enemies, wannabe enemies, but scared of Yah, make with the children of Israel. They keep making these covenants.
Repeat that. Wannabe enemies, but scared of Yah. Okay, so that means that these adversaries of those who Yah got covered acknowledge Yah. They acknowledge Yah's power to be the supreme authority, even though they worship these other gods, right? But they acknowledge Yah to be the supreme authority over these people that Yah say I got covered. And they know better than to mess with these people because even the guys that they worship ain't going to protect them if they touch these people. And so you've watched, was it Aminadab? You've watched
his son.
You watched the Pharaoh with Abraham. And you watched Laban several times now make covenants saying, look, you be peaceful with me, you and your power be peaceful with me, I'll be peaceful with you. Look, I'm going to stay over here on this side of the line, you stay over there on that side of the line.
Tell your God,
it's going to be all good.
Don't bring it in because we cool, right? We cool.
Right.
Let's eat, brother, let's drink, let's make merry.
Yeah.
So that your God can see, we ain't got no problem.
So Jacob raises an altar to them, to the covenant there.
To do a slaughter to Yah.
They slaughter, they sacrifice to Yah, they drink and make merry. And then that place where that altar is a witness, as is Yah and the Malachim, is a witness that they have established a covenant between them in that place.
Right. So after that, the band gets up and go away early in the morning. Jacob continued on his journey, and he comes to a place. Now, at this point, we can see that Jacob is some kind of. Not only is he, technically the priest of Yah, but he's spiritual to the point where he can see spiritual entities.
We know he saw the ladder.
Yeah, he saw the ladder. He saw the. Can y'all hear my children? I don't know if y'all can hear my children. We didn't dread them. They just don't listen.
Somebody gonna address that for us.
Anyway, so they get to a point in a journey where Jacob see a spiritual army, and he say, "Oh, this is the army of Yah." Okay, and he sent somebody to tell Esaw that he coming and he bringing gifts. So all this stuff he got from the band, he ready to get to Esau just to have peace, so that Esau don't kill him and his family. But the person come back and say, your brother say he gonna come meet you himself, and he bringing 400 men with him. So Jacob hit his knees. He pray about it because you don't bring 400 armed men to say what's up. You bring 400 armed men to go to war. And when he get done praying, he break his groups up. He break his camp up into groups and send like the servants or whatever may have you first, so that if Esau, see them and kill them, then his kids and stuff can escape. I know we're not dealing with perfect individuals. He was afraid. Like I say, we're not dealing with perfect individuals. And so he sent them first, and then he break and divide his immediate camp up, and then he goes to a spot where he by himself, and he end up, and the scripture really, I don't say it just kind of just plow over it, but it don't really go into detail what exactly happened that night. But something spectacular happened that night. Jacob ends up wrestling with a man, it's called in the scriptures. But even Jacob know that this ain't no man or whatever may have you. And anytime when the Ruach was on the scene in the earlier, we know that Messiah got a name that had been in the earth for a while. So the Messiah, the man, was named after something. You know what I'm saying? We know that. They say he was given a name that had already been in existence. That was above all names. Right. So anytime we see this presence, one of the things we know is it never gives his name. So Jacob wrestles with this Malachim all night. I mean, they like fight, like just imagine something very spiritual happening that night. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was like shooting this scene for like a movie, you know what I'm saying? I would like darken the set and just put like a moon up and just show like in dance these two beings wrestling. Like they wrestle all night. You know what I'm saying? To the point where Jacob's thigh bone gets broken, like or injured, badly injured.
He touched it.
That's how he was touching it.
The Malachim.
Okay, so he touched it and crippled him. In
other words, so what happened was it was time to stop.
Okay.
It was time.
Because Jacob wasn't gonna give up.
That's his personality. And so he touched Jacob's hip and dislocated his hip.
Okay.
And Jacob still didn't stop. And he said, "Look, it's time for you to let me go. It's time.
Right. It's time to stop. Yeah.
And Jacob said, "I'm not letting you go until you bless me."
Yeah.
Now there is, I believe, some significance there because as he's wrestling, Jacob understands that, like, let's look at it as if, say, for instance, it was a dream. Jacob know that he's in turmoil about some things that are coming up. And he's got in his presence someone with the ability to help him with what's coming tomorrow. And he's like, I got you. I'm not letting you go until you let me know this is going to be good.
Okay, so that could have been what was happening.
You know what I'm saying? I need you to tell me you're going to be with me.
Right,
I need you to bless me. And he blesses him.
Yeah.
And he at the same time changes his name.
Yeah, so he tell him, your name, you should no longer be known as Jacob, but as Israel. Right. So that's how the name is. That's how we got Jacob's children of Israel. Right. Yeah, he said because you wrestle with power, and did he say overcame?
And overcome. Yeah.
And overcome. So like Jacob sat there and wrestled the angel. Like anybody else in the presence of such a being would have been like, hey,
tell you something about Jacob's character. Even though he was scared of his brother, he was not a scary individual. Yeah. Well, but was very courageous.
He was. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's so
there's a lot of dynamics.
It's a lot of layers to that. You know what I'm saying? And so he changed his name to Israel. And it say to this day the children of Israel don't eat something with the thigh meat or something, the sinew or the thigh meat, because that's how that Malachim, or I'm not even gonna call it Malachim. So Jacob, it was time to stop. Yeah. So Jacob asked him his name, and he says to him, "Why you want to know my name?" And there's a character in the scriptures in the Old Testament that when he come on the scene, he is pure power. And anytime his name is asked, he answers the same thing, like, why you want to know my name? He don't give his name. Mm-hmm. And then we get just to point out something, we get to the end of the book of Revelations to find out that Yeshua, we get to the end to the book of Revelations, and it says his true name is then revealed, because to this point his name is a mystery. Revelations 19:12. But in Revelations it's describing the Lamb of Yah. Right. But when we get to 12, it says, and his eyes was as flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, right, having a name that had been written, which no one had perceived except himself. Right. And having been dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so by the time we get to Revelations, a name for the Messiah that has not yet been revealed will be revealed. Right. But we know him in the so-called Old Testament as the Word, according to what we just read. Okay. And we know him in the so-called New Testament as Yahushua. Those are the names that we are in. Yeah. Which means...
Yeah, say it.
Yeah, if you're asking who sent me. Yes.
Which is what he told Moses. Yeah. But if anybody asks, right, tell them Yahuwah sent you. Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, everything that he did was to give esteem to the Father. Yeah. Everything, you know what I'm saying? Which just shows why he was worthy to open the seals, why he was worthy to receive the praise that he did, because he was able to do something that some angels, the fallen, couldn't do, that a lot of men couldn't do. Mm-hmm. To be able to, what being is looked at in this world like the Son of Yah, like the Messiah? And even still with people looking at him like that, he still gives the esteem to the Father. At no point, even to the point where he didn't give us his name. Because what you need to know my name, just like he told Jacob. He said, what you need to know my name for? Even to the point where, you know, if you know my name, then you're going to err. You're going to err because you're going to do something that's great. So, like, let's take the name Jesus, for example. Jesus does not mean Yah saved. Right. But Jesus is a name that's worship. Right. In the name of Jesus this, in the name of Jesus that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so this being came and did not give us his name. Right. He told Moses, if they ask you who sent you, tell them Yahuwah sent you. You know what I'm saying? What's his name? Yahusha. Yah saves. You know what I'm saying? That really says a lot about this.
It does. And here's something that's a real heavy topic.
It is. I know. I shouldn't even brought it up. That's not baby food. I know. I shouldn't even.
But here's I want to give you a couple of things to take away with that. So there's a scripture that says that he was the exact representation and substance of the Heavenly Father. And that means something, right? There's other places, like if we read this as it's written, we'll read what it says. So in chapter 32, verse 29. And Jacob asked him, saying, please let me know your name. And he said, why do you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. Why? For I have seen Elohim face to face. And preserved my life. And the sun rose on him, and he passed on to Peniel, and he limped on his hip. Now, this says he saw Elohim face to face. A lot of people have a habit of translating Elohim to Yah, even though it says Elohim. Okay. Now, Messiah clearly says, no man has heard the Father's voice or seen his face. The only begotten Son does declare. Do we believe him or not? Okay? So who is this that, and this is what she's saying, right? Who is this that Jacob wrestled with that he called Elohim, that he says he wrestled face to face and his life was preserved, and he was blessed by?
And Jacob is a priest. You know what I'm saying? So Jacob ain't like, he's not unlearned. He studied with Noah now. Okay? So he's not gonna call, Elohim. You know what I'm saying? He called this being Elohim.
Yeah. And so another interesting fact that kind of ties into that is that, as we said, his name was changed because the name Israel or Israel means to wrestle with power, or with Elohim, or with Ayel. Aleph Lamed means power, and to overcome. But if you look at it very closely, it don't just mean that. It means to strive with power. To strive with power, to overcome with power, and to rule with power.
Wow.
Yeah. To strive, to overcome, and to rule with Ayel. So you can look at that as in just with power, or you could look at that as in with Elohim.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's a testimony in itself, because we're talking about a progression of events in someone's life that was just called in advance in the simple changing of his name. You are going to strive, you are going to overcome, and then you are going to rule if you stay with me.
And look at the journey of the children of Israel.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So these are his children.
Yeah.
And he said, you blessed me. That's one thing he said.
Yeah.
You blessed me. And you said that I was going to be as numerous as the sand of the sea. Now, don't let my life be taken and cut short tomorrow when I meet my brother, when you already said that you were going to be with me if I go back home.
Did we not wrestle with Elohim?
As a nation.
Over and over again.
As a nation. And still are. And so we in the striving phase, and we are entering into the overcoming phase.
Yeah.
And y'all willing, if this is accurate, if what we believe is true, there will be a ruling phase.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense. I know, okay, I went there. We supposed to keep it baby food. And let me apologize. I don't know how he gonna chop this video. But I did. I'm sorry. We supposed to. Okay, let's go.
Okay. So that was that evening. The real one to point that out.
Yes.
So what we wanted to do is read to y'all from the Book of Jasher.
Yeah.
How some of this played out. Now, here's the question you want to pick up with, because I got here from where Jacob first heard the rumors from Laban's sons. Or do you want me to skip forward to, what do y'all want to do? Skip forward to the good stuff?
How long is it? Yeah, let's skip forward to the meat. Everything we didn't skim through already. Let's just let that be.
So well, like I said, the order from this perspective is not that it's different, but it's not Jacob's perspective. Mm-hmm. So we read about Jacob separating the gifts for Esau into droves so they could look like there's a whole lot coming to Esau. So we're gonna
and if you read your scriptures, if you read your chapters, you read where by the time Jacob meet Esau got a whole different tune. Right. So, but we really didn't see what happened. Now we're finna see what happened to make Esau come singing a whole different song.
Right. So we start in Jasher chapter 32, starting from the beginning. And this picks up at the same place that 32 picks up. Yeah. And it says, and at that time Jacob sent messengers to his brother Esau toward the land of Seir, Edom, and he spoke to him words of supplication. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall you say to my master Esau, thus says thy servant Jacob, let not my master imagine that my father's blessing with which he did bless me has proved beneficial to me. That's funny.
Jacob.
For I have been these 20 years with Laban, and he has deceived me,
Robbed me.
changed my wages 10 times, as it has all been already told to you, my master. And I served him in his house very laboriously. And Yahuwah afterwards saw my affliction, my labor, and the work of my hands. And he caused me to find esteem and mercy and favor in his sight. And I afterwards, through Yah's great mercy and kindness, acquired oxen and asses and cattle and men servants and maid servants. And now I am coming to my land and my home, to my father and mother, who are in the land of Canaan. And I have sent to let my master know all this in order to find favor in your sight, O my master, so that he may not imagine that I have of myself obtained wealth, or that the blessing with which my father blessed me has benefited me.
Look, and this is the killing part. Everybody got an uncle who, when he get in trouble, turn into Jacob.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Most time when the police round. Wait. Now see, no, that ain't what happened. You know, Jacob swift with it.
So he says, I don't want you to think that what I took from you was beneficial to me.
I don't want you to think I've been living it up, because I haven't.
So he says, so then it says, and those messengers went to Esau and found him on the borders of the land of Edom, going toward Jacob. And 400 men of the children of Seir, the Horite, were standing with drawn swords.
Goodness.
And the messengers of Jacob told Esau all the words that Jacob had spoken to them concerning Esau. And Esau answered them with pride and contempt, and said to them, surely I have heard, and truly it has been told unto me what Jacob has done to Laban.
Ooh.
So Laban had already sent word that Jacob had tricked him too.
Yeah.
So not only he tricked you, he done tricked me too.
And so we coming to do war.
Yeah.
With them Horites. Man, them Horites cave people.
Yeah. So it says, I heard what he did to Laban, who exalted him in his house and gave him his own daughters for wives. And he begat sons and daughters and abundantly increased in wealth and riches in Laban's house through his means, through his trickery is what he's saying.
Wow.
And when he saw that his wealth was abundant and his riches great, he fled with all belonging to him from Laban's house, and he led Laban's daughters away from the face of their father as captives, taken by the sword without telling him of it.
By the sword.
And not only to Laban has Jacob done thus, but also to me has he done so, and has twice supplanted me. I ain't forgot. And shall I be silent? You think I forgot? You think I'm gonna go quiet? Nah, I've been waiting on this.
I've been waiting.
On this cat.
He had to come home.
Oh, you coming home? Oh, you got the cojones
Yeah.
to bring yourself back here?
Yeah.
I got something for you, player, pimp.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying in his heart.
Yeah.
Now, therefore, I have this day come with my camp. These cats to meet him.
Them Horites.
Yeah. And I will do unto him according to the desire of my heart. Because who gonna stop me?
Wow.
And the messengers returned and came to Jacob and said to him, we came to your brother, to
Right.
Esau.
So remember, when they said in the scripture, they made Jacob pray. This is what they said to him. They made him hit his knee.
We went to your brother. We went to Esau. And we told him all your words. And this is what he told us. He said, behold, he's coming to meet with 400 men. So we didn't get to those 400 men and swords drawn in the scriptures version.
Right.
But yes, they were ready for war.
And they was Horites.
And they were whores. Right.
Horites.
Horites. It was whores, right?
Right.
Now, then, know and see what thou shalt do, and pray before Yahuwah to deliver thee from him. So even his servants like, you're going to need to go to Yah, bro, because he ready for war.
Man, and these cavemen, man, these
They out there smelling like hot everything.
hot, everything eating, they baking.
Some of them probably got 6 fingers and 6 toes.
You already know. Some of them barking.
Yeah. And when he heard the words of his brother, which he had spoken, the messengers of Jacob, Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed.
You better believe it.
And Jacob prayed to the master, his power, not to Esau this time. So the master is just a type.
Yeah, he was just driving him.
Yeah.
I'm asking.
So now he prayed to Yah, and he says, O Yahuwah, power of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, you did say to me when I went from my father's house, saying, I am the power, I am the master, I am Yahuwah, power of your fathers Abraham, power of Isaac. Unto you I do give this land and your seed after you, and I'll make your seed as the stars of the heaven. That means numerous and powerful at some point. And you shall spread forth to the four sides of heaven, and in you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. And you did establish your words, and did give unto me riches and children and cattle, and as the utmost wishes of my heart did you give unto thy servant. Thou did give me all that I asked for from you, so that I lacked nothing. Now he coming to Yah with the real. He sent them to tell Esau, I didn't mean
bruised.
Yeah. But he know, Yah blessed him. And he says, and you did afterwards say to me, return to your parents and to your birthplace, and I will dwell with you there. And now I have come, and you did deliver me from Laban. Shall I fall to the hands of Esau, who will slay me? Yea, together with the mothers of my children. Now therefore, O Elohim, Yahuwah, deliver me, I pray you, from the hands of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him. And if there is no righteousness in me, do it for the sake of Abraham and for my father Isaac. For I know that through kindness and mercy have I acquired this wealth. Now, therefore, I beseech thee to deliver me this day with thy kindness and to answer. Y'all, sometimes this is how we got to pray. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes this is how I got to go to y'all. Like, I know I don't deserve what I'm asking for.
I don't deserve it.
But I do want to be your servant. I'm asking for your help because I can't do this without you. And I'm asking you, Yah, to deliver me from this situation that I'm in, because I don't see a way around it.
Oh, yeah, I don't see no way out.
I don't see a way around it, but I know you know.
And you always know when it's him, when he moves, because he make a way out of no way.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that coming up, they'll say God made a way out of no way.
Yeah.
Y'all make a way out of no way.
So that's exactly what Jacob's saying. He's like, Yah, I need you to make a way, because I can't see a way right here.
Because Esau coming to kill
He's
me.
coming to kill me.
I got Laban in my back,
Yeah.
and Esau in my front.
Yeah. So, verse, now therefore, 21. Now therefore, O Yahuwah, deliver me, I pray thee, also from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him. And if there's no, we read that, I apologize. 23. For I know, I read that. 24. And Jacob ceased praying to the master, and he divided the people that were with him, with the flocks and the cattle, into 2 camps. And he gave the half to the care of Damasek, son of Eleazar, Abraham's servant, he's still around, for a camp, and with his children. And the other half he gave to the camp his brother Elimas, the son of Eleazar, to be for a camp with his children.
So that means Isaac sent Eleazar with Jacob to keep him safe.
Yeah, he did.
His trusted
Eleazar was powerful.
Eleazar was powerful.
Eleazar was one of Abraham's most trusted servants.
Yeah.
And one of his oldest servants. Remember, he was there for a lot of things.
Yeah. And Abraham's still around too at this point. Yeah. I know we ain't heard he didn't get old or whatever, but Abraham's still around too.
Yeah. So he commanded them, saying, "Keep yourselves at a distance with your camps, and do not come too near to each other. For if Esaw come up to one camp and slay it, the other camp is at a distance from it and will escape him." It's not that he was just giving them up to sacrifice. Jacob trusted Eleazar, and he trusted Eleazar's team. They was battling. Remember, this is some of the same servants who went with Abraham to do battle against what they went to do battle against when they brought Lot back.
This who Abraham sent in Sodom and through Sodom and Gomorrah to get a wife for Rebecca. I mean for Isaac.
So these is warriors.
Yeah.
They're not. I know we read them as servants.
Yeah.
But they are warriors.
So it's like Jacob gave them up to the,
Yeah. No, he sent when he sent someone to lead that camp, he sent warriors with them.
It read when we read that Jacob traveled away from home to end up in Laban's house. It read like Jacob went like by himself, like ran out through the night. But you gotta remember, Jacob is royalty.
Right.
He Hebrew royalty. So he would have traveled basically with a mini court of people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To Laban's house.
As we can see.
Yeah. And apparently Eleazar, who ended up with Isaac, apparently Isaac, to show you what Isaac felt about his son, Isaac sent his most trusted servant with Jacob to keep Jacob safe.
Right.
So, Eleazar, the general, this was probably his idea. Like, send us first.
His counsel.
Let us be the first wave.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. You got somebody that's been a trusted counsel to your father and your father's father, perhaps. And he probably, and look, because we read about Eleazar's king being in the second camp, his sons, his brother.
Yeah.
So you got a family of people who are servants and counselors to
the seed of Abraham.
The seed of Abraham, which means he raising them up to be warriors and counselors to them as well. Wise counselors.
Right. So everybody got to play. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, and this ain't a plug for my book or nothing, but a lot of times in my book, you'll see when we dealing with the main character, but this character got supporting servants. They're servants who's loyal and there to serve them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Eleazar it would have been an honor to raise his children to serve Abraham's seed because they believed, they knew, Eleazar saw the power of Yahweh Abraham. You know what I'm saying? So they knew and they believed and they feared Yah.
Good deal. Perfect. 26. When Jacob tarried there that night, and during the whole night he gave his servants instructions concerning the forces and his children. And the master heard the prayer of Jacob on that day. And the master then delivered Jacob from the hands of his brother Esaw. How did he do that? And the master sent 3 angels of the angels of heaven. Now, this reads, it says the Lord. We translate that as master. That's what that translates to. There's another translation to a deity that was worshipped that goes by that title. It's Baal. But in this, what we read here, what was supposed to be there is master. Okay. When we read in these scriptures, this ties back into what Rick was saying earlier. You read Elohim some places, you read Yahuwah some places, you read the master some places.
You gotta keep in mind, the translators of the scriptures at certain times put their deity.
Right.
So where it will say the mighty, almighty power, in their mind, their deity is the almighty power. So they put their deity there.
Right. But I want you to know, just for the purposes of what we were talking about earlier, that the master, for all intents and purposes that we read about here, is the same master that we read about in the so-called New Testament.
Yeah.
And being a priest, Jacob knew that as well as Isaac, as well as Abraham. So when they say that they was speaking with the master, they understood what they were speaking.
They understood.
And when they say they was praying to Yah, they understood they was praying to Yah. Mm-hmm. And when they was calling on Elohim, they understood they was calling on Elohim.
In our vanity, we seem to think that we were smarter than our forefathers. Right. I mean, we could figure it out, but our forefathers, they couldn't.
If that makes sense. So anyways, he says, and the master heard the prayer of Jacob that day. And the master delivered Jacob from the hands of his brother Esau. And the master sent 3 angels. So this master he prayed to is not an angel. Mm-hmm. But he sent 3 angels of heaven. And they went before Esau. And they went before Esau and came to him. And these angels appeared unto Esau and his people as, these 3 angels, appeared unto Esau and his people as 2,000 men. Esau had 400. They appeared as 2,000 men, riding upon horses furnished with all sorts of instruments of war.
What?
And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his men to be divided into 4 camps. 2,000 men divided into 4 camps. So into 4 camps with 4 chiefs to them.
Wow.
And one camp went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 men toward his brother Jacob. And this camp ran toward Esau with his people and terrified them. And Esau fell off his horse in the line. So I wonder why Esau was so joyful and he loved his brother by the time.
He loved him by the time he got there.
So he says, we'll read that next. He fell off his horse in alarm, and all his men separated from him in that place, and they were greatly afraid. So they left Esau. They was with him at first, but they left Esau.
Them cavemen, they wasn't with him in the first place.
And the whole of the camp shouted after them when they fled from Esau. And all the warlike men answered, saying, surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of Yah.
Wow.
And who then can stand against us?
What?
So they didn't come with nice words to Esau. They said, I don't know what your problem is. But we came as servants of Jacob, and he is servant of Yah.
Say something.
So who won't smoke?
Who won't what?
Basically. That's what they said.
Esau did sharded himself.
Right. So Esau then says to them, oh, then my master and brother, Jacob, is your master?
What?
My master is your master?
Yeah, because see, my father blessed Jacob.
That's my master.
Yeah, that's my master. Yeah, I know what happened.
Who I ain't seen for 20 years?
I missed that boy. Oh, goodness.
And now that I have this day come to see him, you treat me in this manner? My brother who I love? I'm just looking to see my baby brother.
I ain't even got to change your pants.
And the angels answered him, saying, as the master lives. So they say he is a servant of Yah. Mm-hmm. But as the master lives. So they didn't say as Yah lives. They say as the master lives.
Right.
Were not Jacob, of whom you speak of your brother?
Wow.
We had not let one remaining from thee and thy people.
Wow.
But only on account of Jacob will we do nothing to them.
Wow.
And this camp passed from Esau and his men and went away. And Esau and his men had gone from them about a league when the second camp came toward him with all sorts of weapons. And they also did unto Esau as his men and his men as the first camp had done to them.
Did he fell off the horse again?
And when they had left it to go on, behold, the third camp came to him. And they were all terrified. And Esau fell off the horse.
Oh, my goodness.
And the whole camp cried out and said, surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of Yah.
Wow.
Who can stand against us?
Wow.
And Esau again answered and said to them,
I ain't got no problem.
oh, then Jacob, my master is your master? That's my brother. 20 years I haven't seen him. I ain't seen his face. 20 years I ain't seen my brother's face. and here at this day that he is coming, all I was trying to do was come out and meet him. This how you gonna treat me? I ain't seen your brother in 20 years. I'm just trying to come meet him. How you treat me? Here I am laying on the ground. And you standing over me like this. I just wanted to come say hey to my brother. I just wanted to caress his face. That's all I was trying to do. And they answered him and said unto him, as Yah lives, were not Jacob your brother, as you say? We would have left a remnant of you and your men.
Wow.
But on account of Jacob, who you speak, saying that's your brother, we will not meddle with you or these men.
Oh my goodness. And
the third camp also passed for them, and he still continued his road with his men toward Jacob.
Oh my goodness.
And when the fourth camp came toward him, they also did unto him as his men, as the others had done. And when Esau beheld the evil which the four angels had done to him and to his men, he became greatly afraid of his brother Jacob.
Oh my goodness.
And he went to meet him in peace.
I bet.
And Esau concealed his hatred against his brother. Listen, he didn't lose his hatred for his brother.
Right.
He concealed because of his fear. Yah had put the fear of Yah in the heart of Esau.
Goodness.
And he figured, God will leave. If Jacob run them, I don't think I want no parts of Jacob right now.
You know how scared, excuse my friend, you know how scared people gotta be. Cut that thing. You know how scared somebody gotta be to fall up off that horse twice.
These horses look.
Hey.
You remember the horses in Lord of the Rings that was running, the war horses that was running?
Smoke coming out their nose.
And eyes like fire. It was trying to duplicate what this was talking about.
Yeah.
These was angelic war beings.
Esau's body, see, let me tell you why he fell off the horse. Because his spirit tried to fit him. And he tried to catch his spirit before he could leave.
Pull it back. Oh, come back. Oh, don't leave. Yeah, that's what was going on. So he was scared of his brother. And he was greatly afraid of his brother Jacob. And he went to meet him in peace. And Esau concealed his hatred for Jacob because he was afraid of his life on account of his brother Jacob. And because he imagined that the four camps that he had lighted upon were Jacob's servants.
You got to be more careful out here, man. I'm telling you.
And Jacob tarried that night with his servants in that camp, and he resolved with his servants to give unto Esau a present from all that he had,
Jacob still trying to,
and from all his property. And Jacob rose up in the morning, he and his men, and they chose from among the cattle a present for Esau. So we'll pick the rest of that up back from the Scriptures translation, because by the time we picked that up from the Scriptures translation, Jacob trying to give Esau these gifts, and Esau like, no, I'm not taking. You can't give me nothing, brother. I got everything I need. All I want is to make sure you good.
I came all this way to hug you.
Because if you good, I'm good. I just want to kiss on you and love you up.
Yes, see my nieces and nephews. These my nieces and nephews here? Okay, all right.
Let's get that real quick. If you don't mind, can you read that one for us?
Yes. So
you know I go hoarse if I keep reading too much out loud.
Okay.
This is 33.
33. Okay, so and Jacob lifted his eyes and looked and saw Esau coming with him 400 men. And he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the two servants. And he put the female servants and their children in front, and Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph at the last. Really?
Can't get them. I don't know who that was. I'm popping this. Verse 3.
Okay.
Verse 3.
Okay. And he himself passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother.
So that means by the time Jacob still now is a little worried.
Jacob still shook.
Even though the master done blessed him, and said, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Heard his prayers and sent somebody at him. Jacob don't know that.
Jacob don't know that.
So by the time Jacob see his brother, he done stopped several different times to pray.
Now take this, because you never know what y'all put on somebody's heart when they dealing with you.
That's right. You don't know what's going on in the spiritual realm. You can have faith like Abraham, like Isaac, like Jacob. You can have faith, but you don't know. When somebody do it, and me and Rhea talk about this fairly often, right? Because you got to give Yahweh esteem in all things.
All things.
All right? So when you go to the hospital and you come out okay, when your job do something that you didn't expect, but they move in your favor, you can thank your boss and be cordial, but you got to understand that it was Yah that touched that person's heart on your behalf. It was Yah that guided the doctor's hands, the surgeon's hands, their heart to deal with you in the way that they did. When he got you covered and the way that they deal with you turns out to benefit you and it's on your behalf, you got to give Yah the esteem. You got to understand that was Yah. I don't care who was operating in the flesh. You know, Esau is going love his brother up right now in the flesh, but it was because Yah instilled that fear in him when dealing with his servant, Jacob.
Yah also, in that same, will also use people to punish you too.
Absolutely.
So Yah,
double-edged sword.
Yah okayed Laban punishing Jacob. There were things that Jacob needed to get spanked for.
Yeah, Jacob still has grown up to do.
Jacob had a lot of things that he needed to be reprimanded for. And Yah allowed Laban to abuse him for 20 years. Of course, he gave him everything that belonged to Laban afterwards.
Yeah, he still prospered.
Which is a foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Everything that happened to Jacob is a foreshadowing.
When he came out with much substance. Right?
Yes.
Think about it.
You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it says Esau ran to meet him. No, he didn't walk. He ran to meet him, and he embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. He knocked Jacob to the ground. Bro, I bet she spent 20 years. And he lifted his eyes, and he saw the women and the children, and he said, who are these with you? And he said, the children with whom Elohim has favored me. You know, the whole time Jacob looking at him like, these my kids. This nigga gonna kill me. You know what I'm saying? These my kids, you know? Then the female servants came near, and they and their children and bowed themselves. And Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed themselves. And Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed themselves. Then Esau said, what do you mean by all of this company which I met?
Right.
Now, we at first thought, before you read that, you know what I'm saying, we think he's just talking about the servants that, Jacob sent, you know what I'm saying? So Esau asked him, like, what?
And that's what Jacob thinks too. He know he sent his servants with gifts.
Yeah.
But he also know that Esau rejected those gifts. So we think he just talking about those. We don't know that Esau talking about the warriors.
I'm telling you. So Esau, what do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, to find favor in the eyes of my master. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours.
Change the story.
And Jacob said, no, please. If you have now found favor in your eyes, then receive my presents from my hand, because I have seen your face like seeing the face of Elohim, and you are pleased with me. Please take my blessings that I brought to you, because Elohim has favored me, and because I have all I need. And he urged him, and Esau took it. And he said, let us depart and go, and let me go before you. But he said to him, my master knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and the herds which are nursing are with me. Now Esau told him, okay, let's go ahead and go our separate ways. You go first. Now Jacob, still not trusting his brother, he say, well, I got the kids, and they weak. Them kids is not weak. Jacob got some of the strongest kids in the world, but he said, they weak, and the flocks and the herd which are nursing, are with me. I gave you all the good stuff, but I still got the babies and stuff. And if the men should drive them hard one day, they'll die, you know. So please, let my master go before his servant. And let me lead on slowly, according to the pace of the livestock that go before me, and according to the pace of the children, you know, until I come to my master and see her. And Esau said, please let me leave with you some of my people who are with me. But Jacob say, no, let me find favor. If I found favor in your master's eyes, you take your people. And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. But Jacob set out to Succoth. So that's a time stamp. They'll let you know what time it was. Esau and Jacob are both brothers of twins of Isaac, but only one of them was Succoth. And Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and he pitched his tent before the city. And he bought the portion of the field where he had pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 kishta. And he set up a scatter place there and called it El Alua Yisrael.
So that's that for this reading. But a couple of key things the reader can attest to here is these names. The place is called Shechem. Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem. It's named after Hamor's son. Well, Hamor is the ruler. Shechem is his
son.
Is the prince.
It's the prince.
Okay. These names, remember, they come right back up.
Yeah. It's the next reading gonna be some TT.
Yeah, and that's gonna come. We're gonna give you the extracurricular reading on that as well.
And we're gonna show you how weak. Remember, Jacob told his brother that his children were weak.
Right.
So we're gonna show you just how weak his children were.
The other emphasis is on that Succoth. So we're reading here that place is called Succoth, where Jacob built the tents for his cattle and his house and stuff there. But there is significance still there with what Succoth signifies, because what we just witnessed happen with Jacob was a covering. Jacob was covered in a time when there was some tumultuous things on the horizon, and he was coming out of one place and into another place, and he prayed for himself to be protected. He prayed to the master for protection, and he was protected. That's what we mean when we say covered. So this tent is known as a temporary dwelling place, but it's also known as a covering or place of shelter. Does that make sense? Place of shelter during the time of a storm, whether it's literal or metaphorical storm. If that's not too
that's good.
mystical, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because when we get into looking at the feast days and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is going to begin to make more and more sense.
Yeah.
What else you want to add?
Next week.
Oh yeah.
Next week, come prepared.
Oh yeah. Let me see.
It's gonna get. As you know, you can't talk about Dina without talking about Dina.
Yeah.
Without getting into it.
Oh yeah.
We gonna show y'all just how weak the children were. I can't even believe he said that. You know, because the children, he should. And another thing, the way, in the order in which he sent them to meet his brothers. You know what I'm saying? He was sending warriors, even in his children, in order to meet his brothers. Like, them dudes, you gonna see.
Yeah.
You gonna see.
So he sent, yeah, you're right, because he sent, they told you that he sent the two servants, so those are two wives.
Yeah.
He called them servants, but they're also wives, and their children.
Yep.
But then he also sent the two main wives and their children. So their children, it reads like he was sending the wives unprotected. His children was protected.
His children was like, you gonna see what I'm saying.
His children protected.
And he knew, like, from here, his children, like, you don't really hear too much from his children. Well, in the extracurricular reading, we're going to read what his children, especially like his oldest sons and stuff. You know, his oldest son would have been like what?
Reuben. Oh, well, I'll put it
at
to you like
least
this.
20-something.
By the time you read what's happening recounted in Jasher at this point,
He worked 14 years.
he's Jacob is 90-something years old.
Oh, really?
Jacob is 90-something years old.
Jacob
So his sons is at least teenagers, but that's old enough.
That's
In this
because,
day and age, because they was out there getting.
They was getting, like, you gonna see how weak the children were.
They at least teenagers.
Yeah. And Joseph would have been a baby, though.
Joseph would have been a baby, but here's the thing. But that's why by the time Joseph is a teenager, they are so overly protective and overly like, come on, little guy. You know, what are you saying? Like we've been through some stuff.
Yeah, we've been through some stuff.
We battle hardened already.
Yes.
But look, there's something else you're gonna see as you read. So we're gonna do 34, 35, and 36 next week. Something else you're gonna see is the beginnings of why. So we wonder in this day and age why these nations have been confederate against us. Like why all these nations seem to tag team against us. Well, this is going to be some of the reason why is because you got this nation that we're going to have the initial problem with, but then as they calling on the other surrounding nations, just like what happened with Abraham, they begin to say, we ain't finna let Israel and his children do this to y'all. Yeah. We're going to band up against them.
We're going to bring our mighty men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we got, you know, a Goliath with us. He a freak of nature. He have rhinoceros. Right. Have human. You don't want none. Right. You know.
Agamemnon.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give that away, but
come prepared next week.
Yeah, it'll be another exciting one, and I pray that this was well received, even though it was a little tired and tuckered.
I know it was funny.
I still enjoyed it.
I did. I got a real good laugh out of that.
I'll be tired at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Remember, this is pre-recorded. It's not Shabbat right now. Yeah. Even though we wish it was Shabbat Shalom, and we have a Shabbat with y'all in the text.
Yes.
This is pre-recorded.
We burning the midnight oil with the scriptures.
Almost literally.
Yeah. Right.
Shalom.
All right,
Shabbat Shalom. On Shabbat, y'all. We'll see y'all. Hope things will be next time.
I'm so tired. I can't do this.
God bless.
I see through you to that hatred and your greatest sickness, babe. But you display, I make all haters. Maybe if you cut your nose off your face, it will make you pretty. Maybe if the makeup in your face could make your face look different. Maybe makeup changes genetic makeup to make a difference. Sheesh. Get this girl some bleach and end this racial tension. Peep. How you rich but can't afford to pay attention? Most people brainwash. Why you think I hate religion? But I love y'all, so nah, ain't no atheism. Afro, color black, cool, who created niggas? Watch them call me racist. What my race is? We are racist, nigga. And Obama ain't gon' say it pimpin' words like bullets. Paka, paka, hope them statements hit you. Before you was a dime piece, who was Israelites? Before you tripped up in the streets, who was Israelites? Before they took you out them shits, who was Israelites? Before a nigga was a nigga, we was Israelites.
I'm an Israelite, I'm an Israelite.
Yeah.
I'm an Israelite, I'm an Israelite.
Yeah.
I'm an Israelite, I'm an Israelite.
Yeah. Nah, we ain't no niggas, man, we Israelites.